Hello, welcome. My name is Axel Rosa, and this is my presentation on entertainment business conglomerates, Columbia Records. So the reason why I chose to do this company is because, in all honesty, some of my favorite artists growing up were signed to this label, particularly Mariah Carey. But the first CD I ever picked up when I was young was "Sweet Kisses" by Jessica Simpson. And I remember opening the CD and just reading the credits inside, and I was just curious to know just everything inside of it. And then I heard it, and then I stood in the mirror and flipped the hair that I didn't have, and you know, the rest is history. But I hope you all enjoy this presentation. So a little bit of background about Columbia Records. It is the oldest American recording music company in the world, and it's currently based out of New York City. And it was originally founded in 1877 by a group of investors as the American Graphophone Company, and it eventually became Columbia Records, and it was adopted into the Sony Music Entertainment family around 1987. And it's also home to some of the biggest selling pop stars that appeal to multiple demographics, such as Barbra Streisand, Tony Bennett, Beyonce, and Adele. And here's a historical quick video on the background for Columbia Records, which I find particularly very heartwarming and entertaining. Hope you enjoy.
For more than a century, from Dylan to Beyonce, Streisand to Springsteen, Columbia Records has created music that echoed and electrified our culture. Now, on its 125th anniversary, the dramatic history of the world's most innovative music label comes alive in a fully immersive, multi-touch book. Interact with videos while you read. Explore galleries of images with a single swipe. And listen to the greatest music from over a century of Columbia legends. Meet the early visionaries who turned the phonograph into a phenomenon. The jazz pioneers who sparked a musical renaissance. And the singers who made the soundtrack for decades rocked by war and social protest. Discover how Columbia brought the best of Broadway and Carnegie Hall into homes around the globe. And witness the creation of new technologies that revolutionized recording. Experience 125 years of innovation through words and music that changed the world. 360 Sound, the Columbia Records Store.
So, Columbia Records' main demographic and customer segments would be kind of a mixture. Right now, its primary market is currently millennials and Generation Y, currently 18 to 34-year-olds. I currently fall into that category, given some of the artists that I mentioned earlier that I enjoyed listening to. Also, we also want to maintain and keep notice of the older demographic that's been loyal followers to Columbia Records for many decades, and that's its loyal 60s and 70s and even 80s when it came to pop music and jazz, and that all transitions into different demographics for every label, which I think has helped maintain Columbia Records' notion and popularity as well. And also, what's great about having multiple demographics for any artist is that they have the opportunity to score and seek sponsorship for certain brands that'll benefit their career when it comes to different demographics. And an example would be Beyonce and Pepsi. Um, the secondary customer segments, like I was mentioning and also getting into, would be Beyonce got a $55 million promotional branding sponsorship deal for her Miss Carter World Tour. And along with that, she was also able to seek sponsorship for other creative projects that led up to the tour and after. The value proposition for Columbia Records is very high, given that its main artists have held multiple Grammys each, and that their net worth is over 100 million each. Their highest one would be Barbara Streisand. She's earned 8 Grammys throughout her career, and her net worth, according to Forbes.com, is 370 million. Right behind her is currently the millennial targeted demographic artist, which is Beyonce, Queen Bee. She's earned 17 Grammys thus far as of 2016, and she's a net worth of 265 million. Adele's not along behind her, and the one unique great thing about Adele is that from this time frame, she's only put out 3 studio albums, and she's earned 10 Grammys, and her net worth is out of this world. And lovely old Tony Bennett. Excuse me, Tony Bennett. So channels of distribution for their music videos, aside from YouTube being one of the essential ones for the younger demographics, typically for older demographics that still invest in cable television, it would be MTV, VH1, BET, and any other form of music video channels. When it comes to country music, CMT. And there are secondary channels such as, for example, MTV has MTV2, MTV3, MTVU, MTV 24/7, stuff like that. Also, other forms of distribution for the music would actually be digital services. As we can see, the popular ones that are all used by the everyday iPhone user, or smartphone user rather, would be music services like Pandora, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, iTunes, Tidal. What's unique about these services is that it also intertwines with social media, and it can increase an artist's visibility when it comes to searching music libraries and distribution methods as well. The one cool thing about Columbia Records is its customer relationships. Columbia Records stays relevant with their online interactions with fans and consumers by using their own website as well as social media outlets like Instagram and Twitter, Facebook. By engaging with their consumers, it targets their demographics directly, and it also gives them the opportunity to constantly update their current status and let their fans know what's going on with their favorite artist. And also it allows Columbia Records to see the interest in their fans and what they like and what their consumers are liking online and what their interests and what their what is going to benefit an artist and how they're going to target their music, and as well as what's trending in today's world. Many signed artists also have merchandise of their own. It's typically sold at concerts, retail stores, online stores, and artist appearances. This merchandise can range from t-shirts to poster boards to fashion accessories and even to other forms of music distribution. Key activities are, for example, A&R. The artist and a repertoire for the record label hires the talent, or at least scouts them out, and then helps them gain the potential of being signed to a record label. Currently, Mark Williams is president of A&R of Columbia Records, and he actually joined the label in 2010 and has then signed acts like Pharrell Williams and Leon Bridges. and that was a huge success given Pharrell's current solo career. And also, another key activity would be music producers for the label. A former solo music producer who recently also got signed to Columbia Records actually produced Barbra Streisand's 22nd studio album, Guilty. What's unique about this album is that Barry Gibb was did such creative had such creative direction when it came to producing this album for Barbara that it's her highest selling studio album, with ranking an estimated 5 million copies. 5 million copies in the United States alone. And ironically and conveniently, Barry Gibbs also signed a record deal with Columbia in July of 2016, with plans on releasing his second studio album by the following fall, according to PR Newswire. Social media marketing. Social media marketing plays a huge part when it comes to Columbia Records' younger demographics. A great example was in 2013, Columbia artist Beyonce released her fifth studio self-titled album, Beyonce, with just one Instagram video post selling 430,000 copies within 24 hours. After this video posted, within 12 hours of the release, Beyonce generated 1.2 million tweets on Twitter. The key resources for Columbia Records are its current promotions. Columbia Records put together, along with Honda Civic for boy bands, One Direction for their album Midnight Memories. They hosted a album release party in 2013, and it was hosted by Ryan Seacrest, a key essential part. Also, when it comes to the television show Glee and the covers that they did for that musical show, Columbia Records has exclusive rights to that show. So any music that's being covered or original music that was recorded is going to be distributed and only done by Columbia Records, which also benefits their younger demographic. And then, last but not least, Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand is their leading artist. She's sold over 72 million albums within a span of 6 decades, which is very impressive. Mostly that in the beginning of her career, she would release an album every year. Key resources when it comes to the marketing team. When it comes to the marketing team, a marketing strategy is a necessity when advertising a new product or business. Columbia Records in 2016 promoted from within Erica Alfredson, Senior Director of Marketing, to Vice President of Marketing. And according to Business Worldwide, she's worked on marketing campaigns with Beyonce, Adele, Nine Inch Nails, Jack White, and The Neighborhood. When it comes to the legal side, every business needs a legal team. Columbia Records parent company Sony Entertainment enlists the expertise of Julie Swindler, according to Billboard.com. According to the same article, Swindler worked out a deal between Sony and Jamaican radio artist OMI's recording label Ultra Records to release his track Cheerleader this past summer in 2016. Key partners would be music channels. Another great key partner for Columbia Records are television music channels, according to prnewswire.com. In spring of 2004, Columbia and Viacom announced a television broadcast special on MTV, MTV2, VH1, VH1 Classic, and BET. The participating networks broadcasted a special program of Prince on the same night at the same time. The special consisted of a 30-minute television special featuring performances and interviews with the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Columbia Records has a lot of millennials, and they target in today's market in a great way is by streaming radio. iHeartRadio launched an exclusive party to release an exclusive album to a certain demographic. An example would have been the same Honda party that was thrown in the 2013 release of the UK boy band One Direction. So the cost structure. One important cost structure for Columbia Records is its artist album budget cost. For example, Beyonce's 2016 release, Lemonade, according to MuseJezebel.com, cost an estimated $1.35 million to produce. Also, another cost structure would be securing the artist so that talent and everything that is part of their catalog doesn't go with them. So in 1992, Barbra Streisand was paid a reported $40 million to renew her record contract with Columbia Records. And as of 2016, Adele was offered an estimated $130 million to secure her status with the record label. Streams of revenue include digital music sales with purchases of music by consumers. Adele and Beyonce have made history. According to People.com, Adele's 25 album has sold in excess of 900,000 copies via Apple's music service within its first day of its release. The figure tops the 617,000 copies purchased within the first 3 days of sales for Beyonce's unannounced self-titled visual album in 2013. Another revenue stream would be endorsements. According to Raw News, Beyonce signed a multi-million-year endorsement deal with Pepsi, reportedly worth $50 million. The campaign includes television and radio commercials, magazine ads, and a limited edition run of her image on Pepsi cans. The other artist to ever be featured on the Pepsi can was Michael Jackson, who was also part of the Sony family. Another revenue stream for Columbia Records would be its artists when touring or ticket sales rather. For Columbia artist Beyonce headlined her 2016 Formation tour in April and grossed in $210 million and counting so far as of fall 2016. Each of the venues on her European schedule hosted the tour for a single night, except for London's Wembley Stadium that drew 142,500 fans on July 2nd and July 3rd, earning $15.3 million alone. So in conclusion, Columbia Records is the longest running music label in the world. It is home to some of the world's most successful pop acts like Barbra Streisand and Adele. Columbia Records generates revenue through many different streams, including music sales, live shows, and concerts and merchandise. I believe that Columbia Records is a solid business model because not only looking at its financials, but by also its achievements. The simple fact that it is the longest running record label of all time is proof in itself. So just making a small recommendation, maybe adding a Latin division. For example, Rock Nation CEO Jay-Z signed Latin Grammy winner Romeo Santos as president of Rock Nation Latino. And Spanish has become the U.S. second choice of language with 55 million Latinos living in the U.S. There's potential to make revenue in the bilingual Hispanic market in both North America and South America and Central and all over the world. And another recommendation would be combining arena show performers. Single performer tours generate millions of dollars with just one artist. If Columbia put their top artists such as Adele and Beyonce on a special tour together, the revenue could potentially reach $500 million. Both artists generate over 100 million in ticket sales. Imagine if Columbia had them on tour regular, all the merchandise revenues and endorsements. If it would bring in would make Forbes history. Along with this, maybe even a record duet album between both artists covering some of Columbia artists' greatest hits ever released of all time. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for listening. This was my presentation on Columbia Records. Excuse if I had any stutters or if there was any miscommunication on my behalf. Just want to say that I love this assignment. It was something great to do, and the fact that I have all this knowledge now, I'm going to do so much with it. And if y'all have any questions, you can email me at Axel Jose Rosa, AXELJOSEROSA, at gmail.com. Thank you, and have a nice day.